thinking is creating a process of mental images in the screen of the mind. And those images are based on the data supplied by the memories of the dead past. And projected into the unborn future as hopes of the future. Both memories and hopes are illusions because they look real but actually not real, since they are only images created in the mind. But we get deceived by such images as actual realities. And that deception is called ignorance. In the Buddha language, moha. Liking certain mental images is called raga. Disliking is called dosa. Disliking is a result of the negative aspect of liking. If we like a certain forms, that means we dislike forms that are not tallied with that image that we like. Because the forms that we dislike are not the forms that we like. We have selection of the mental images to like, and the images we dislike, we resent. We get attached to the forms that we like, mental forms, and we resent the mental form that we dislike. In this aspect, the entire world that we experience is not the world outside, but the world created in the mental screen of our mind. That is why the Buddha said in the Rohitasa Sutta, the discourse that you get on the page 118 of volume 1 in the Samyutta Nikaya, but this statement is made by the Buddha at page 120, saying, Vyamate kalebere sasanyam samanike lokancha. Where he says, the entire world that we experience is within us, not outside us. And in that world, we have images that we like and images that we dislike. As I said earlier, they are only illusions that look real, and we take and believe them to be real and accept them as real. That is the ignorance of the reality. Therefore, it is the ignorance of reality, called moha, that leads to our liking and disliking, attachment and resentment. And we think of those illusions that we like just to perpetuate them in the future, for future use. We want to keep them in the future. We want to get them in the future also, not only now. Future is unborn, it is not a reality. Therefore, thoughts of future are based on an illusion. And such illusions are projected from the dead past, memories of the dead past. The past is dead. As I mentioned earlier, the memory is an illusion. And based on such illusions, such memories, we project our hopes into the future. Hopes are illusions, as I mentioned earlier. Therefore, thinking means creating an imaginary world which looks real but not real. Attaining Buddhahood. Bodhiti means in Pali is a verb saying knowing the reality, understanding the reality. Buddha is understanding. The one who has understand is called a Buddha. It is not knowing the enlightenment is the realization of this truth. What is the truth? That all our mental images are illusions. And there is no point in getting attached to them or resenting them. They are illusory. And that's the reality we realize at the enlightenment. With that realization, the thinking process ceases at the enlightenment. That is what happened to the Buddha at his enlightenment. As he said in his first paean of joy after enlightenment, saying, Visankara gatam chitta. At the enlightenment, when I attained Buddhahood, when I got enlightened, thinking process ceased, came to an end. The mind became empty of mental images. That is why the supreme bliss of enlightenment called Nirvana in Sanskrit, Nibbana in Pali, is called Sunyata by the Buddha. Emptiness. Emptiness of mind, where there are illusions that we get attached to or that we resent. And such a mind, free of illusions, free of tension, is a tranquil mind, a peaceful mind, a blissful mind. It is that bliss of mind that we can experience after enlightenment. Such a mind is not governed by, as I mentioned earlier, memories of the past. That is why Buddha said at the last stanza of Karnamutta Sutta, saying about enlightenment, what happens at the enlightenment is Dittincha Anupagamma Silava Dasanena Sampanno. The mind became free of prejudices. Ditti means prejudices. Illusions of memories of the dead past and hopes of the unborn future. Non-thinking mind is free of the illusory mental images called memories and hopes of the unborn future. And there is a vision of the reality. What is the reality? The mind is an illusion which looked real but not actual reality. That means by enlightenment, one goes beyond the mind. Going beyond the mind here means going beyond the thinking process. Enlightened mind is a non-thinking mind. But that mind is alive and therefore it becomes aware of sensory signals. And it can accept sensory signals as sensory signals without interpreting them with the past memories, projecting the mind into the hopes of the unborn future. And such a mind is a non-thinking mind, free from the burden of thinking. And that is the bliss of enlightenment. The bliss of enlightenment called Nibbana. That mind is free, Nibbana means. Ni means no. Bana means not bound. Bana is bondage. That mind is not bound to any imaginary illusions for attachment or resentment. Therefore, it is free of exercising the mental energy and physical energy unnecessarily. Conservation of energy. A mind free of tensions, and that is a blissful mind. Thinking mind is a heavy mind, burdened with memories of the past and hopes of the future, which, as I mentioned earlier, both type of mental images are only illusions. Therefore, the thinking mind is living in an imaginary world of illusions, while an enlightened mind is a mind facing the reality as it is. That means that mind is free from prejudices, dittincha alpakamma silava, and it can see things as they are. That is called yatha bhuta jnana dassana in Buddha's language. And that mind also can accept things as they are. Yatha labha santutti. And that is the bliss of a non-thinking mind. But the Buddha called dukkha, the mental suffering, is thinking. In his very first sermon called Dhammacakkappavattana, he explained the term dukkha that we translate into suffering in English. Dukkha is nothing but thinking. Sankappa rago purusassa kapo. Sankappa means creating mental images. It is this process of creating sankappa, mental images, that we call thinking. And we get attached to them. That is through mental magnetism called karma. That is why Buddha said at page 202 of the Nibbedic Sutta at volume 4 of Anguttara Nikaya, saying, Sankappa rago purusassa kamo. Mental magnetism means getting attached to mental images. Where there is an attachment, there is the negative aspect of its resentment. That means certain images we like and certain images we dislike. Disliking is based on liking. That is the root cause of disliking. We dislike something or somebody means when that thing or being is not in the form that we like. Therefore, attachment to a certain imaginary form called raga is the cause of resentment too, disliking too. The non-thinking mind is free of liking, disliking, and ignorance of the reality. And such a mind is a blissful mind.